Hello and welcome to the Built Podcast. I am your host, Reese Price, and we are here with none other, Mr. Nick Hilton. How are we?
I'm very well, pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. This is our first episode of the Build Podcast, and I wanted to be able to have the best on here to be able to talk to like-minded people in the fitness industry, bodybuilders, etc. But I'm going to let you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and sort of what your origins are.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on, firstly. Like the intro. So I started my bodybuilding journey when I was 16 years old. I finished my bodybuilding journey when I was 23. I'm 27 now, and from my bodybuilding career, I was able to manifest a business from that. And I was able to channel in the assets that I was able to obtain from bodybuilding into now creating a life for myself that I really enjoy. And all this came from bodybuilding and fitness. If you asked me when I was 16, would I be living the life I'm living now? I could not imagine it. And so I'm very grateful for bodybuilding. But yeah, man, throw it back to you.
Oh, so for me, I guess, I started as well, 15, 16. Did my first bodybuilding competition when I was 9. Did you say you were 19?
16.
16, yeah. Did my first one in 19, and last one was last year. Didn't go as how I planned. And, it's interesting that you say that now your career for bodybuilding is done. But I like to say never. You never know, right?
Yeah.
Because we're always going through different stages of life. We're pretty much the same age. And we begin to realize as we get older, what is important to us, what actually makes us happy, right? What makes us actually think to ourselves, oh, I'm actually making an impact onto those that are close to me, or having a bigger impact on beyond that as well. And we begin to realize, bodybuilding is just for us. So I think it's interesting that you say that your career is done at 23. You achieved a lot. I mean, it's just seeing the rig. It was insane. I remember following you when you did your last, was it 2020?
2020, yeah.
2020,
correct.
so it's pretty much just when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember following you, I was like, man, this guy's the next big thing, 100%. But how you've then used that to then be able to be like, okay, bodybuilding for me at this point in my life is not what I want to do, but you've manifested these new ideas to be able to then drive into what I'm assuming is Tanked, right? So I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. But I guess from your experience of competitive bodybuilding, how has that now evolved and shifted into how it improves your current day-to-day life?
Nice. Do these mics pick that up? Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess now as we get into the next question, so what you have learned from your competitive bodybuilding career, how would you say that has impacted your current self and who you are as a person, and also how you live day to day?
Yeah, so I'd definitely say that there are unwritten rules in the gym that you learn only from doing physical exercise and pushing yourself to a certain level of exertion that actually embeds and instills certain values within yourself that helps you to go out into any other area in life and just conquer that. So, the thing with me was with bodybuilding, that at the time was my outlet, it was my vent. But without even realizing it, being so young, that vent was actually instilling those unwritten rules within myself that was embedding and creating this fortified mindset that I really use today within my business and every other aspect in life that I'm venturing into. And I think a lot of people can benefit from going to the gym, even if they don't right now, right? Even if they start off at home doing push-ups and things like that. I think people don't realize the power that comes with that and the fortified mindset they start building on doing the things that they don't want to do just because it's, going to have an end result of, improving themselves later on down the track. With me, it was more bodybuilding actually started from a very dark place for me, if I'm going to get real personal with this. So I always wanted to go to the gym. I wasn't really into it that much, but I just wanted to crank out a good body. So I was 15 years old at the time. I was still in school. And then my father actually ended up passing away on my 16th birthday. And that year prior to my father passing away, my family was fucking broke. Medical bills, mum, dad struggling to keep up with just housing us, just, your basic survival things. I don't really want to get too much into that, but like life wasn't good during that year, to the point where my parents couldn't even afford a gym membership for me. So what I ended up doing was sneaking into different gyms around my area.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I ended up getting kicked out every single one of them. But then leading up to my 16th birthday, my father actually ended up passing away. And when I found out that he passed away, my mum actually said to me, "Hey, Nick, your father actually bought you a 12-month gym membership because he knew you really wanted to go to the gym." And that was a gift that I really held dear to me. And so that's what actually motivated me to continue my journey in the gym.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I had set this goal for myself that I didn't know what I had to do or what I wanted to do. Fast forward, I'm now in the gym, I'm using this gym membership. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, but I knew I had to do something with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this was a gift beyond death. That's how I seen it. And so bodybuilding was just something that happened. I never intended on being a bodybuilder. I never really cared about bodybuilding. It was never on my mind. I just wanted a good body.
Yeah.
As every other teenager does, teenage boy. They just want a six-pack of abs, nice chest, big arms.
Of course.
Bob's your uncle, everyone's happy.
Yeah.
But then I actually began to realise I had, a real skill to it. I was good for it. And I also had the motivation pushing me to develop into a bodybuilder, which then also, going back, talking about those unwritten rules, embedded that discipline inside of me that I didn't even realise at the time that I was building. So I ended up competing. My first show, I was 16 or 17, I can't remember exactly, but I was about 16. I won that show.
Yeah, what show was that?
That was A&B.
A&B.
Yeah, it was so long ago. Can't remember.
Teenagers?
Yeah, teenage division, yeah. So I won that show.
Hey guys, just quickly, I hope you are enjoying the podcast. It would mean a lot to me if you could make sure to like, follow, subscribe on both Spotify and YouTube or wherever you're viewing this podcast currently. It really does mean a lot, and it will help to grow the podcast so I can bring out more content, more podcasts, and invite more guests like you are listening to right now.
I believe it was 4 years later, I took a 4-year break because I really wanted to come back with a bang. And then I just started smashing out shows consecutively, 2 a year up until I was 23.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did end on a good note. I do feel like I can say I was one of the best amateur bodybuilders in the country for my age at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Finishing.
Yeah. Cool.
I want to hear about the
Yeah.
Yeah, because who was competing against? Yeah, because so 23. Yeah, definitely. As I said, I think that's one of the great things about social media. You have all these eyes on you that you don't even know.
Yeah.
I was like one of your number one fans.
Yeah.
And because who were you up against at that time, 2019, 2020?
There's a lot of guys.
A lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that I don't think compete even now as well.
No. There's a lot of guys from back then. Quality of bodybuilder was different also.
Most definitely, yeah.
But there's a lot of them that don't compete now.
Yeah.
I personally think it's for the exact same reason that I don't compete now.
Yeah.
And that's just a simple fact that if something's not serving you anymore, it's time to let it go.
Of course. Yeah. And going back to the reasons why we start to get into the gym, I think it's actually great how your father was able to gift you this last gym membership.
Yeah.
It's a 12-month gym membership, but had he not done that, would have you been a bodybuilder? Would have you?
I've often thought about that
Yeah.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because I can even admit, I don't think that if that adversity didn't happen to me, and it was traumatic, but if that trauma didn't happen to me, I definitely would not have ended up being a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And when I look back in time, I wouldn't even regret a thing.
Yeah.
Because that's built me to be the person that I've been able to mold myself into today.
Yeah.
And just that one little gift,
Yeah.
right? Just that one little thing that changed everything for me, a gym membership.
Yeah.
I'm so like, when I say I go to the gym, I mean like I go to the
I
gym.
see it. I see it in your
You
stories.
get me?
man. Yeah.
Because I understand the value that it can produce for people. I understand what it can give people. Going to the gym is more than just lifting weights or running or on a treadmill or lifting barbells. It's more than that.
Yeah.
You're fortifying your mindset.
Yeah.
You're embedding these unwritten laws of discipline within yourself without even realizing.
Exactly.
And they only ever start to come out later on once you've been in the gym after a few months. Now, can you imagine a few years?
Exactly.
Can you imagine the transformation, not just physically, the physical transformation, but the mental transformation, the transformation of self-development that a person can mold themselves into? That's what happened to me. And that's why I feel as though more people should really be involved in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm all about the gym. So like I said, going back to that, like I go to the gym, you get me. Like,
I love that.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
I may not be a bodybuilder anymore, but bodybuilding was just a byproduct of how hard I worked
Yeah.
in the gym. That's
Yeah.
all that was. Bodybuilding is something that just didn't serve me towards the end of my career,
Yeah.
because the gym is what built me and molded me into this person to then move on from that bodybuilding character into a different character. And I still train today. I still train every day, or I try to.
Yeah.
But that's something I'll never give up.
Exactly.
And I don't think anybody else should give that up. And I don't think anybody who's listening to this who doesn't train should not train. You should train. You should go to the gym.
Yeah.
The benefits outweigh all the flaws, all the societal pressures and anxieties that people could be feeling.
Yeah. The way that I see it is, you know, your health and fitness at the end of the day, right? Which is what training falls under. It's one of the things that we are our only solution, but we also are our biggest problem, right? And when I say that, it's if you are unhappy with how you're feeling, if you're unhappy with the way you look, you can solve that. You can do that, unless you're maybe disabled. That's a different story. But
You just got to stop being a bitch and get in the gym. That's it.
There we go.
Let's just make it black and white.
It's black and white.
Stop being a bitch.
There has to be
gym.
less emotions tied to it, and more logical reasoning of you can fix this, right? And as you said, you know, these unwritten laws of discipline that I love that, because it actually is quite similar to the way that, you know, I say it to myself, or how I even say it to my clients or my close friends. It's these, I guess if we're using your words, these unwritten laws of discipline that forge habits, right? You develop these habits, you begin to see how you can actually structure your days, your weeks, your months, even then builds up to your years, the way that you want to. And once you actually realize that these habits, AKA unwritten laws of discipline, these habits can then set you free. It is a sense of freedom that it doesn't cost you anything. It even doesn't even take any time. You can start today. You don't have to wait for tomorrow. You don't have to wait for next week. You don't have to wait for a New Year resolution. You can start now. It can give you freedom. And unfortunately, you know, everyone goes through, you know, life, quote unquote life. We go through trauma. We go through breakups. We go through getting fired. We go through rejection. But, you know, training and also nutrition are two things that, how I see from what I've gone through life, you have full control over.
Yeah.
And that when it gives you that freedom, it gives you that laws of discipline, it's like, it's black and white. It's like, why wouldn't anyone want to do this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah. And then leading on from that, you know, had your father not given you that last little gift, had you begun bodybuilding, had you begun Tanked?
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, the way that life guides us can go in such mysterious ways, but it's so interesting when we can, you know, go back a few steps and think, wow, had this not happened, then the next wouldn't have happened, or something completely different would happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's amazing. So I guess now, you know, following your Instagram, you don't post too much, which I like. There's some people where I just see their stories and it's like, are you actually living life, or are you just living through your camera? But from the quality of posts that you do upload, you know, what would be your current stance on training? You know, what do you do at the moment for yourself? Do you still have a bodybuilder's approach to training, or so
No.
what do you currently do for your training?
So I do still make an effort to try and train every day. I don't train with a plan anymore. I did, but I'm at a point now where I no longer need to.
Yes.
So I just rock up to the gym, whatever I'm feeling, I know I'm just gonna go in there, I'm gonna absolutely fucking smash it.
Yeah.
With whatever gas I've got left in the tank, I'll just give it my best, and whatever result I produce from that, physically, I don't care. Because the reason why I go to the gym now is to fortify my mindset, and it's to strengthen my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm strengthening my mind not because I'm trying to go to the gym to look good. That's like the smallest part of it for me now. Like once you know yourself, once you've had the body, you've had the body. You don't need to uphold that body unless you'd like to.
Yeah.
For me, I don't really care about the body anymore. Now it's all about mindset. How can I continue to fortify my mind? It's almost like a cheat code to life. You want a strong mindset? Go to the fucking gym.
Yeah.
You want to do well in life? You want to do well, you know, with your family? You want to have better relationships, friendships? Go to the fucking gym. Why do I say that? Because it fortifies your mindset. And I view training so differently today compared to how I did when I first started. When I first started, the purpose that training would serve me was that it was going to get me in shape. Well then, what do you elaborate on once you're in shape?
Yeah.
Where do you go from there? That's the point I'm at now. And it's funny that like you asked me that question, because I find it, I'm trying to answer that question for myself now as well.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest. What is training doing for me now? How is it serving me? It's something that I know that I have to uphold and I have to upkeep and continue to do, because it's my asset, it's part of me. But I often think now, where else can it serve me better? How can I actually optimize training?
Yeah.
To optimize my life?
Exactly.
That's what interests me now.
Yeah. It's definitely, once you move away from, you know, I guess from a bodybuilder's mindset, obviously the bodybuilder's mindset is, I need to build as much muscle as possible. I need to be as lean as possible. And I need to make sure that everyone else's needs, they don't fucking matter. What matters to me is making sure that, well, as a bodybuilder, is that I'm getting my training in, I'm getting my meals in, and that's it, basically. So in that in itself, what I've found as well, don't get me wrong, I love bodybuilding. I love the not so much even the sport, but the lifestyle, right? Because it teaches you that habits and the routine, and the way that you then can sort of like copy and paste that into other aspects of your life. I think one of the biggest, easiest quotes that you can relate it to is, don't get mad at the results from the efforts you don't put in. You know what I mean? If you're not going to the gym, if you're not pushing yourself, well, it's one thing to get to the gym, but then if you're not actually training, right, then you're not going to get the results, right? But from what I've seen from how you're training and what you've just said, of, you know, you don't follow a plan, you don't follow a program, and this is one of the things that all these influencers or people that are trying to get into the fitness sphere is like, oh, you're not seeing results, you need to be following a program. Well, you don't actually really necessarily need to be following a program. You need to have a good idea of like what to be doing.
I would say there's a structure to it, right?
Yeah.
You touched on influences and things like that. Like we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
Before you try to master your craft, first just try to master being average.
Yeah.
Don't try to master being great at first.
Yeah.
So many people, they go into the gym, they hear one thing from Bob, one thing from Harry, you need to follow a plan. No, you don't, that's fine. Or you just need to eat this, or you need to drink more protein shakes. And they're just bombarded and they're just consuming all this information, and it becomes overwhelming for them and they don't know what to do at that point.
Yeah.
Or it's as simple as this. Go into the fucking gym, just start lifting some weights, little by little, build on what you do know, ask for advice on what you don't know, implement that, see if it works.
Yeah.
Obviously ask a professional like yourself, but then you obviously get to a point in time where now you've mastered being average. Now with time, you're beginning to master being great. And so that's a point where I'm at now, where I just go into the gym. I know the feel of the gym. I've spent, the past decade in the gym. I don't need a program, but it's subjective, obviously, depending on where you're at on your journey and your purpose in the gym as well. For yourself as a bodybuilder, you obviously have a plan that you've structured for yourself because you've crafted that from mastering being average, and now you're great.
Yeah.
Now you're the upper echelon in your industry, right? Now you're not just that regular guy walking into the gym, you're a professional athlete, right? And you've even mastered that. And so I would say that structure is important, but don't beat around the bush with it. It's not that important. It's important, but it's not that important. Don't focus on it too much.
Definitely. You don't need to overcomplicate the process.
That's right.
Right? And even for me, right now, where I'm at currently with my life and the way that things that I've got going on is I don't follow a program as well. Like,
shit.
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, when I go into the gym, I obviously have a rough idea on, what...
You sure you don't follow a program?
I have a rough idea of what I want to do in that gym, whether, okay, today is going to be some sort of upper body day, tomorrow, and then, or I'm going to do lower body on another day. But for me right now, results matter, but consistency is what is more important to me. And what I've also realized is that bodybuilding, if you want to be able to last, or you want to be able to, not even just bodybuilding, but just going to the gym, you need to make sure that you are doing, at the end of the day, what you enjoy as well. Obviously, there's going to be things that you don't enjoy. That's with everything in life. But if it's in the case of sometimes where you don't have to put all this, expectations or...
Like unnecessary pressure.
Pressure,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. This unnecessary pressure that you have to be doing a specific exercise because so-and-so said so. Or you need to be hitting these numbers because this person on Instagram did that.
Yeah.
It's just going to the gym, knowing that maybe what you did the week before, try and be a little bit better. Oh, yeah, I want to be able to just absolutely demolish myself today by doing German volume training for squats until I'm just on the floor, questioning life, right?
Yeah.
It's always about sometimes knowing when to flick the switch off and just be able to just go in and just train hard.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's okay if you want to have a little bit more of a structured approach to things and you want to put that pressure onto yourself because you know that, certain applications of pressure is what pushes you to be better and better every day. Okay, let's flick that switch back on. Let's go through a period of time where we have a plan, we have a program, we have a goal in mind and working towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the big thing with what you're saying as well is it's not about your gym routine, your gym plan, your workout plan. It's more about your structure.
Yeah.
And the structure that you implement in your life. And if you're going to commit yourself to something, don't beat around the bush, commit yourself to it. Not saying that you have to give it your all, because not every day you're going to show up as your best. You're obviously not going to wake up every day feeling great.
Yeah.
And that's human, right?
Exactly.
But if you at least just make it your goal to commit yourself to go into the gym every day and just say to yourself, hey, look, I'm just going to absolutely fucking kill myself today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go for it. Absolutely destroy the body. Destroy the body. You can't not produce a positive result from that. And I think that's what people miss.
Yeah.
You cannot, just by going to the gym, you don't need to have a set routine, set program, all this sort of stuff. It's good if you do, and obviously it's going to enhance and speed up the process of you reaching your goal. But if you're giving it your 100% every day, regardless in the gym, you can't not produce a positive result. And I think a lot of people get stuck and caught up on that. Or I have to go to the gym and I have to, lift with this technique or with that. I'm the most unorthodox fucking bodybuilder you've probably seen. I probably lift the least in the gym, and yet I ended up producing one of the largest bodies.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about the weight I was lifting or how I was lifting it. It was just like how I was mentally connecting with the weights and me just pushing myself to my limit in the only way I knew how.
Yeah.
And I still produced a result. And I think that's where people get so caught up with programs and things like that. I'm not demonizing programs. They're fantastic, they're great, they're necessary. But you don't need to have complex protocols and programs in order to achieve greatness in this industry. You just need to be consistent, as you mentioned. You need to fucking commit, and you need to do what you're gonna say you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And don't beat around the bush with it. If you say to yourself, you're gonna go to the gym today, go to the fucking gym. Don't finish your 9 to 5, get home, it's now 6 p.m. Oh, I'm feeling a bit sluggish, I just had a meal. You know what, I might skip it today. Fuck off, idiot. No, you've got shit to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like I don't understand this mindset. And I guess that just comes from being so far from that mindset, because this is what the gym made me. This is how the gym molded me. It built me into this. And I don't apologize for not understanding beginners, because you know what, I was once a beginner as well. But look at the fucking person I molded myself into. Look at the mindset I fortified just by going to the gym. It's amazing.
It is.
It's absolutely amazing. And I loved every key point that you just touched on, because it's so true. It is so true.
Yeah. That's actually, people get caught up in a lot of things. What would you say is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of beginners do make when wanting to get into the gym?
The biggest mistake that a lot of beginners make is thinking that they need to do A, B, C, D, E. You just need to start with A.
Just need to start with A.
Just take one step at a time, baby step at a time. And I know listening to that as a beginner, people would be thinking, oh, but I want it now. Oh, but I haven't got time to wait. So I'm just gonna try and flood myself and consume all this trash, bullshit, all bullshit. You just need to start by going to the gym and doing the things you don't want to do. You might see someone in the gym, right? Not you, I'm just saying this in general, but you might see someone in the gym and you might look at an exercise they're doing and think, I don't know what the fuck that is. Go up and ask them. Yeah. It's that simple. Hey, what are you doing? What's that work? What's that do? Why are you doing that, right? 99% of the people in the gym would love to be asked these questions. Yeah. Why? Because they'll fucking self-loathe in it. Yeah. Right? It'll boost their self-esteem. Oh, somebody's just come up to me in the gym. Now I'm the professional. I'm no longer the beginner, right? Yeah. And I think gyms should be built more around that sort of culture, right? I'm not saying that it should be a social club, because it's definitely not the place to socialize. No. But it's definitely a place where people can connect, right? On the self-improvement basis. That they're all in the gym for the first time, or for, the 50th year in their life, and they're all coming together for the same common goal of developing and self-improving themselves, right? And as a beginner, the best thing that you can do is just go to the gym, and the worst thing that you can do is just not. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And you don't need to know anything. I mean, every gym is structured now for beginners to walk into anyways. I mean, you can walk in having no knowledge, and you still have a personal trainer come up to you. You still have a staff member try and sell you personal training, and you still have a membership consultant try and help you with your goals. So really, there's no room for failure here. You can't fail. The only room for failure that people have is not being able to take themselves out of their own anxieties and societal pressures because of what they think other people think of them. That limits them from going to the gym. Yeah. So the only limiting factor here is people's thoughts about themselves, right? It's people caring too much about other people's opinions. Yeah. I don't want to go to the gym because I'm fat. Well, that's why you fucking should, because you're fucking fat. And I don't give a fuck. Yeah. That's why you should. I don't want to go to the gym because the guys there are bigger than me. Okay, well, you're fucking skinny. Do you want to be big, or do you want to, what do you want, right? Yeah. Do you want to stay as you are? And sometimes you just have to do the things that you don't want to do to get the things that you want. And that is the only limiting factor. The main limiting factor is simply that, and not giving a fuck about other people's opinions will get you very far in life, and understanding that's part of the game. Yeah, yeah. It's these limiting factors that you definitely just brought up, where a lot of people, majority of people, are just too concerned with what
other people think of them. But when you actually take a step back, that's how everyone thinks. And even for myself, I've had to teach myself and to make this realization that most of the time, if you're putting yourself in an environment or a situation where you're going to be putting yourself out of your comfort zone, well, one, everyone else in this room is too worried about what other people are thinking of them. They're probably going to forget who you are by the time that you've finished with what you're doing, you know what I mean? But also making the realization of these nerves, right? When you get nervous about something, ultimately it's because you're about to do something that is pushing you outside of those anxieties or outside of your little comfort circle. And understanding and realizing when you get that nervous feeling, those butterflies in your stomach, or whenever I get it, I'm like, this is actually what I need to be doing, because I'm about to step out of my comfort zone. I'm about to learn something.
Or when you feel scared to jump, that's exactly when you jump.
That's exactly. And when we begin to realize that, it's like, well, if this is what it feels like, it doesn't last forever. This nervous feeling doesn't last forever. And exactly what you said about failure. I mean, for me, failure is not whether or not you succeed or it doesn't go the way you wanted. Failure is just not trying. Failure is just giving up. Failure is just letting the thoughts just stay in your head. If you, let's say for example, you wanna try a new exercise, or you wanna go for like a 100 kilo bench, and the bar just fucking falls on you. It's like, that's not failure. You tried. You learned something from it. Okay, I'm not where I need to be. I'll try again. I'll try again. I'll try again. You keep trying until you do it, and then it's at that point it's like, okay, I've gone outside of that comfort circle. It hasn't gone the way that I've wanted for the last 3 months, but I finally did it. But had I not tried that first time, then I wouldn't have wanted to be able to try again and get a little bit closer, get a little bit closer. So yeah, definitely. The anxieties that a lot of people limit themselves to is definitely, I say, is one of the biggest mistakes, as well as thinking they need to be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z.
And that's right. And this goes back into what I mentioned earlier about the unwritten rules that you embed in yourself through the discipline of going to the gym.
Yeah.
It's this fortifying of mindset thing that I keep referring back to, because that's what it's all about. You can, as a beginner, somebody who's never stepped foot in the gym, or you just don't go very often, if you go to the gym, you are going to be a completely different person, inside and out, 12 months later.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're fortifying yourself. There are so many, the benefits outweigh all the pressures. The benefits outweigh all the anxiety, all the opinions people might be throwing at you, or you think people are throwing at you that they're really not. Right? The benefits outweigh all of it.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with every touch point that you mentioned on.
Definitely. Love it. Well, I guess now, how did Tanked come about? What made you want to create what is now such a successful men's clothing business? I don't know if you're going to females, but males at the moment. What made you want to now transfer from being a very successful competitive bodybuilder now into business?
Yeah, so you would know this yourself, obviously being a bodybuilder. There are a lot of gym brands out there that I personally struggle to resonate with. I had clothing brand sponsorships back when I was a bodybuilder, and I didn't really resonate with their core values.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll word that better. I did resonate with their core values, but the business didn't really shine through for those core values. And so I thought to myself, well, I definitely don't want to be wearing a brand that doesn't represent who I am well. Why don't I just fucking make one? I mean, it can't be that hard. Fuck, I was wrong. But in saying that, that's where the disciplines of going to the gym and bodybuilding helped me.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, I walked into the gym as a young boy, not knowing anything about this, about the industry, and I came out on top of the industry, in my opinion, at the end. Who's to say I can't do the exact same thing? that was the one motivating factor for me. And all of those unwritten rules of the gym that I embedded within myself, I ended up transferring and applying over to the business side of things. Oh, I don't know something, that's fine. I didn't know how to exercise when I first started. That's fine, that's normal. You know, every master was once a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, every winner was once a beginner. So I didn't have any issues starting in a space that I knew nothing about. I'm not a designer. I'm not, you know, a business. I wasn't a business guy at the time. You know, I was none of those things. But I ended up building on those things. And the brand essentially just spawned as an alter ego of myself, if I'm being completely honest. Mm-hmm. And seeing what the market lacked for guys like myself at the time, that there wasn't really a true brand out there that really represented the shit I was about, right? That fortified mindset, you know, that true strength. A lot of what you see on social media is just an attention grab. All the content that's posted, it's all bullshit. It's all an attention grab, right? And that was my mission with Tankdwear, and it still is my mission. Just to keep it real and as genuine as possible and be the brand that fucking motivates. Be the brand that when people wear Tanked, they know that they're being represented well, right? While all the masses take all the right turns heading in the wrong direction, all the Tank guys take all the wrong turns heading in the right direction. Yeah. That's how I see it. That's how I view the brand. As the owner, that's how I view it. And I hope that's the message that I've been able to transfer, you know, and be transparent with throughout the business. But moving from bodybuilding into the brand space wasn't an easy transition. Because you see, being the person that I had molded myself to be in the gym, I started to realize that doing all the things that a bodybuilder would do was not sustainable. And there was no way I could sustain both businesses, right? The business of bodybuilding and the business of clothing or the brand. And so it was a transition of slowly realizing, because of the person that the gym made me, this very motivated and driven person, and I'm just willing to outwork anyone and everyone in front of no one, I just thought to myself, fuck, I need to stop bodybuilding. It's no longer serving my purpose. If my goal is to have one of Australia's best male fitness wear brands, then I need to stop being a bodybuilder. And as weird as that sounds, that contradictory, there's a lot more that goes in the back end that people don't realise with owning any business. Doesn't matter what it is. But I realised that because of who I was, if I was committing so much time to the gym, then I wouldn't be committed. That time could have been better committed to the brand. And so that transition was very difficult to do. I mean, can you imagine you've got this amazing physique, and every day you're still training and going to the gym, but because your focus isn't there, you're looking in the mirror, and now you're losing that. You're going backwards and backwards and backwards. Every day, the kilos are dropping, the grams are going down, you know, the clothes are getting looser, you know, the face is changing, everything's changing. That was truly a difficult mental battle within myself that I had to fight. But what helped me was still going to the gym. And it was for mindset. It was the mindset, fortifying that mindset, you know, that helped me to push through that transition. And now I'm grateful because throughout that transition, going from bodybuilding into the brand, it's like, well, yeah, I'm cool with being this brand guy now. Like, I'm not a bodybuilding guy anymore. I was, not a has-been, I was, but I'm the brand guy now.
Yeah.
And I'm still just as driven and motivated as I was in bodybuilding in the brand.
Yeah.
And there are things that pop up for me every day that I don't know, and I still Google and YouTube, and you know, sometimes I even TikTok it. How do I do this, or what's this, or what does this mean? I don't even know what all these big words mean sometimes. You know, I get all these emails from people, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, just say it in black and white for me. Like, I'm from the area. Like, I'm just a regular guy, right?
Yeah.
That's how I view myself, anyways. But yeah, it's very interesting. You know, very interesting how things panned out for me. But ultimately, I definitely wouldn't be able to be the person that I am today if it wasn't for the gym. I definitely wouldn't be able to be the brand owner that I am today if it wasn't for the gym. The brand wouldn't have even had its core values today if it wasn't for the gym.
Yeah,
put that
exactly.
way. So there are so many positive things that came from just going to the gym that I still do. And I still have to pay my dues to the gym every day. And I try my best to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously not in the bodybuilding sense, but I still pay my dues.
Definitely. And, you know, going back to what we were saying is like, everyone thinks that they need to be a master straight away. And without even knowing that you just need to just start, you know what I mean? And asking yourself, like, what is my why? Why is it that I want to create this? And understanding, okay, I don't know everything that I need to know, but I'm going to learn along the way. And I think that's exactly what you've done. And even I think maybe the last couple of weeks, you've coming out with a new course.
Yeah.
To essentially provide people that are in that same current stage, that they have an idea, they have a why, they have something that has just been stuck in their thoughts and they want to be able to produce it out into the world. Even with that, that's a new business venture. Yeah. But for yourself, I remember you saying on your stories, you were like, I don't know what platform we're going to be delivering this on. Yeah. We'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And without those mistakes along the way, you don't learn.
That's right.
And that's, what I said about failure is just not even giving it a try. You are meant to make those mistakes along the way to be able to learn and to be able to ultimately, obviously, we'll learn about what you're wanting to do and also learn about yourself, what you like and what you don't like. So, very interesting, very, very interesting. What would you say is your biggest sources of inspiration for Tanked?
My biggest source of inspiration for Tanked is I do not like any other brand in the country. That's my biggest source of inspiration.
I love that.
I do not like the way social media is grabbing attention.
Yep.
I'll even say this. You asked me earlier why I don't do women's wear, and I don't give a fuck. I'll say it as it is.
Say it.
I have no fucking business as a male
Yep.
selling women's clothing. Absolutely no business. That is none of my business, right? That is like a beginner personal trainer trying to tell you how to do a bodybuilding comp prep. So fuck off, right?
Yeah.
But it's the facade and the clownery that comes with it.
Yeah.
It's the consumer mindset that I absolutely hate. And I don't care, I'll say it. Like, I hate the consumer mindset. And I hate surrounding myself around people with a consumer mindset. And I don't like putting myself in positions or where I'm in an environment where I could even potentially become a product of a particular environment. I would rather be a producer rather than a consumer. And with Tanked, when you ask me what's my biggest inspiration for Tanked, it's simply challenging every societal norm. Like, for the past 8 months, I haven't run a single Facebook ad. Put it that way. I have not run ads at all. Why? Because I've been disabled. Not by choice, but it taught me some things, right?
So as in disabled, as in they banned you?
Yeah, pretty much banned. Matrix banned me, that's it.
The Matrix banned you.
That's it. So, it challenged me in a way where I was like, okay, how am I going to keep pushing revenue?
Yeah.
Right? And then this was the interesting part. This was something I only learned recently. When my advertising had stopped, I realized that our sales had only dipped slightly. And then I began to realize that if people enjoyed the brand because of the emotional connection that I was able to build. I'm not too sure if you're subscribed to the brand, but almost every day I personally send out free game. So you are subscribed, right?
I am.
So, free game. And the interesting thing about Tanked, and you would know this, is I never send out any pieces of content around product. It is always motivating pieces of content that allow people to emotionally connect with the brand, that then they will end up purchasing, and this is my vehicle of selling them something, that they'll end up buying motivation. That's the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
So the product is just the vehicle of delivering the message, right? The clothing, this t-shirt, right? Just a t-shirt, I'm not gonna lie. You know, logo on the back, logo on the front, nothing special, right? But why do people buy it? It's because of what it represents.
Exactly.
It's because of what the brand represents, right? It's the fact that I'm in a position where, no, I get to understand now that a lot of people really connect with this shit, and I can be the brand that motivates, and I don't have to be the brand that sells out on social media, sexualizing things, sexualizing women and things like that. Being an attention grab. No, fuck that. No. So yeah, that's my inspiration. I probably went a little bit too deep there with that, but
No, I loved it. I loved it. And it's almost concerning that, you know, the type of world that we live in, the stage of, you know, where we are with social media, and how it becomes a habit subconsciously that people learn that they can get things, or they can get that validation through posting a picture, posting a video. And now ultimately businesses, whether it's in the clothing realm, whether it's in the supplement realm, they prey on weak-minded people and unaware people of tying these sexualized, you know, individuals that know how to be able to use certain characteristics of themselves.
That's the thing, right? That's you're describing the consumer mindset.
Yeah.
That's what you're describing, the consumer mindset, and there's two sides to it, right? Just depends what side you're on.
Yeah.
You have to understand that businesses and industries preying on the insecurities of others to sell them products in order to make a profit is part of the game. So what side of the game board are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the producer side, or are you going to be on the consumer side? And that's just the fact that you can draw awareness to, right? And you can bring up, but you'll never change that consumer mindset. It's always going to be there. Because if it wasn't for the consumer mindset, then there wouldn't be a producer mindset, like yourself, right? So it's a double-edged sword. What side of the spectrum do you want to be on? What side of the sword do you want to be on? If you can see it from the outside perspective, looking in as you do, right? Knowing that, oh, maybe this supplement company, maybe this brand is only selling me products based on my own insecurities, and you actually have quite an articulate mind to sort of reverse engineer and break down the content that you're consuming in your algorithm, even the algorithm as in itself. If you're able to look at that and think, no, there's an agenda here. There's something that they're preying on. There's data-driven analytics behind selling products based on people's insecurities, especially with women. You know, look at the beauty industry, the makeup industry. It's fucking huge, right? Because there are a lot more insecure women than there are men.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not just saying that because, you know, beauty products are for women, but I'm just saying in general, right? Like, it's a fact. It kills it. And I just think, I can't help but think to myself, one, I don't want to surround myself with people like that. Two, if I am going to understand that this is the game and I can't change it, what side am I going to be on of that? But then three, the most important thing for me with Tanked is, am I going to fucking sell out my core values? No, I would never. I don't care. I will never sell out my core values. I've had numerous opportunities to introduce a women's wear line. Numerous opportunities. And you wouldn't believe how cheap the cost would be as well, right? And I'm not going to mention the costs because I don't want to hurt other brands out there, but it's ridiculous. The margins are ridiculously high, but I'm not going to sell myself out.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be women's clothing. No, that's not what I'm implying. But what I am implying is that there is a massive agenda, especially in the fitness industry, selling females and sexualizing clothes for them to be attracted to, because people are preying on their insecurities. That self-validation you mentioned. Women want to be self-validated. Oh, what's going to make my tits pop or my ass pop? Let's be real. Oh, I'm going to buy from this brand. Okay, cool. Oh, look at this brand. They're posting up a lot of chicks or a lot of other girls that look like this, right? Oh, well, you know, I feel insecure and these girls seem like they're getting likes. I'm just going to hop on the bandwagon, because that's all it is. It's a trend, you know. And I'll be real with you, bro. Anything fast to come up is very fast to come down as well. Time in the game is what wins in my space, in the brand space. The longer you're in the game, the more successful you'll be. Slow and steady, right? And just continuously outworking everyone in front of no one.
Consistency,
right? That's what's going to get you positive results, positive driven results. Not just in the brand space, but obviously every other aspect in life. If you try and rise fast to the top, just know that you'll also come crashing down. 100%. I don't care what anyone says. It's not like, oh, I might. No. You will 100% come crashing down, because anything that's fast to scale has to sacrifice one thing: their premium. Brands have to sacrifice premium in order to scale up quick. Why? Because the only way to scale up quick is to prey on who and what? People and the insecurities. That's facts, right?
Yeah.
And so, consumer mindset, producer mindset. Which one do you pick?
Exactly.
Blue pill, red pill?
Yeah. And even with my initial, I guess, interaction with Tanked, and when...
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Just about that?
Yeah.
What is your view on Tanked? Because I actually want genuine feedback.
Genuine feedback?
From someone like yourself, because you actually fit my customer. You actually align well with my customer, and because I know you, your characteristics make up the type of gentleman that I would love to see wearing Tanked, right? So I would like to know your genuine opinion and be real with me, right? Say, if it's fucking shit, say it's fucking shit. I need to know this stuff, right? I can handle it, I'm a big boy. But give me your honest feedback.
My honest feedback on Tanked, it is, well, I'll basically tell you what I initially thought and felt when seeing your brand. I knew that someone creating this new brand was something completely different than every other brand. I think especially when you were coming out with it, you know, other brands like Muscle Nation, Riderwear was obviously one of the big ones. They were definitely following trends, which is fine, right? And when I initially got the care package that you kindly sent me, I was shook. I was absolutely shook. The amount of quality that you could feel, you could see it. I was blown away. I was like, this is, you can tell the amount of care and passion that was behind these clothes, because there was no detail that was missed. There was no shortcuts. You could just tell by just feeling the product and looking at the products when you put it on, and you could see it. And even now, getting more of a backstory on, you know, who is Nick, what is Tanked, and what your core values are. You are not afraid to be able to not just speak your mind and what you believe in, but your core values of, I'm okay with not earning hundreds and thousands of millions of dollars preying on the consumer mindset. I would much rather be able to create a brand that is Nick, that is what I believe in, that is what I've learned over the years, and be able to resonate with other like-minded individuals and males, especially, and to be proud of what you created and what you wear. And I believe it's honestly the best men's activewear that there is, because I wear it and I'm like, this is better quality than Nike. This is better quality than, it's like an in-between of a designer wear and activewear. Yeah. And the simplicity of it, and you can tell of the free game that you send out. It's a brand that you want to be a part of, because everyone that does push themselves in life, whether it be training, whether it be work, anything, being able to relate to a brand and being able to find it, you're like, finally there's a brand out there that is what I stand for. And that's my honest thoughts of Tanked.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and
so that was the good. Now the bad, because I'm after the bad.
The bad, honestly, there's not enough of it.
Okay, we'll work on that.
I guess honestly, I have no bad things to be able to say about it.
There's surely one thing. I mean, someone's probably talked shit somewhere, right?
No,
I mean,
never.
You're sponsored by Riderwear, right? I mean,
Never. Well, honestly, like,
I'm kidding.
Well, that's where I find that point of differentiation of, you know, a brand like Riderwear that is successful. Don't get me wrong, but where I see what they do is, and obviously because I'm a part of it still, not really, but they are just trying to just pump out design after design after design, you can really, from my own personal views, you can see how there isn't a genuine care. There is that lack of core values. Like when I think of Tank, what is Tanks? I know what Tanked is, but Right Away, what is Right Away? Or what is Muscle Nation? I put question
I think
marks
that
on
comes down to the perspective that you view it from, right? Going back to that consumer, producer mindset.
Yeah.
My customers are dominantly producer mindset,
Yeah.
not consumer mindset. But at the same time, the producer market is also a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But me personally, I prefer quality over quantity. And I'm not saying anything negative about the brand. I completely respect the hustle.
Yeah.
As a business, fantastic business module, absolutely killing it. You know, known about them for a while. I think they even, when I was bodybuilder, they sent me a DM, they wanted to collaborate or something. And I was like, I don't resonate with you.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it basically went down. And yeah, I respect it. Yeah, I respect it because they are producers themselves. They're not consumers. But they have to have consumers in order to thrive.
Yeah.
Right? I think in 2024, in today's digital age, I think there are going to be a lot of young, up-and-coming, masculine men in the world. And I'd love to, 10 years down the track from now, be able to capitalize on that opportunity, knowing that all the young boys now, they have no reasons or excuses to not fucking win in life. And so they are going to continue on their own self-development and masculinity. And if I can tap into the market early, well, in 10 years from now, guess who's wearing Tanked? Do you see the difference in society? Do you see like the quality of people? Right, you're going to see a certain type of person wear this, whereas another type of person is going to be wearing this. And my goal is to have a certain type of person wear my brand, Tanked, and that's a producer mindset.
Amazing. Well, I'm glad that you brought up, in 10 years from now, where you potentially might see, society growing. Where do you? I don't know. I personally, I hate this question, but a recent mentor of mine made me understand and be able to make me realize these are obviously the questions that you don't like to hear. Why is that? And the question that I didn't like to hear, but which I'm going to ask you now is, where do you see, I'm not going to put it too far in the future, but where do you see yourself and Tanked in the next 5 years?
Yeah, look, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. Because if the gym made me like this, the gym molded me into this mindset, this fortified mindset. If you told me, hey, in 5 years you're going to be here, or you need to do this, or if I say to myself, I need to do this in 5 years' time, that's too long for me. I'm sorry, bro, but that's too long. If I say to myself, I'm going to hit this goal in 5 years' time, I'd be like, fuck that, I'll do it in 5 months. So to even insinuate that, where you're going to be in 5 years, no one knows. Look at the economy. Look what's going on. Look, everyone's fucked up right now. And I'm not afraid to say it, but everyone's fucked up right now, and they just know how to hide it. So where I'm going to be in 5 years is definitely going to be in a good place. I will continue to change and evolve and develop 5 years from now. You're not going to be the same person 5 years from now. I'm not going to be the same person 5 years from now. So to even try and answer that question now is like me trying to answer the question of, if you asked me in 2019, where would you be in 2024? I could have not have told you I was going to be owning fucking Tankdwear and doing what I'm doing. I probably would have said, yeah, I'm going to be this professional bodybuilder and on the Olympia stage and doing 1, 2, 3. How wrong would I have been? Yeah. So to answer that question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I think the real question should be, where do you see yourself in a quarter? I think that's reasonable. Yeah. I think we should view a full working year in quarters. I believe a year should be seen in, a 12-month period should be seen in 4 quarters. What are you going to do this quarter? What are you going to do second quarter? What are you going to do third and fourth? And shorten the time frame of your goals, because if you give yourself 60 minutes to do a task, it's going to take you 60 minutes. You give yourself 60 seconds to do it. Well, you're going to try and rush in 60 seconds, even if it's not possible, but you'll still make more progress. And so, who told you that? Who asked you that question?
One
of the mentor?
Yeah, one of my mentors. And,
okay.
Well, he's not my mentor anymore.
All right, interesting.
But it was just one of those things where, you hear a lot, it's like, where do you see yourself in a year from now?
Oh, it's a very generalized question.
Very
like I
generalised
said,
question.
for the consumer mindset.
Yeah, for the consumer mindset.
Just being real.
Yeah.
You are someone with a producer mindset. If I ask you, right? Before I even answered your question, you said it's a question that I hate. You obviously hated it because you have a producer mindset.
Yeah.
My point.
Your point. Exactly. No, I love that. I love that. Well, coming towards now the end of this podcast, but one thing that I wanted to be able to do to have as a consistent question throughout all my guests to be on the show is to be able to ask, if you could go back in time and you could tell your younger self that was just getting started out into this fitness journey, what would be the biggest tip that you would tell yourself, or biggest advice that you would give your earlier self?
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. If I think back now to my early days in bodybuilding, there were so many things that I held back from doing because I cared a lot about the opinions of other people. And this was all just self-manifested. It's not that I had any evidence people were thinking shit of me. It's just, this is how my mind was at the time. And it held me back from doing a lot of things. It held me back from filming content. It held me back from trying to compete when I realized I was good enough to compete. It held me back from starting certain conversations that could have built out a massive network for me now. And it also held me back from making mistakes when it didn't fucking matter. If I make a mistake now, it matters. But at the start of my journey, being younger, I would have loved to have made more mistakes. So the biggest piece of advice that I could even say to anyone is don't hold back. You have absolutely nothing to lose, because in 5 years from now, you're not going to care. So you'd rather make mistakes now rather than later. And I wish I made more mistakes. And I wish I got myself involved in a lot more shit than what I did already. So yeah, don't hold back.
Don't hold back. I love that. Well, Nick, where can they find you? Where can they find Tanks? Do you have any?
Yeah, so Tankdwear is at tankdwear.com.
Yep.
www.tankdwear.com. Search us up. You can find us on Instagram, Tankdwear. And if you want my personal Instagram, it's I am tanked.
I am tanked. And you can use Reese10 to get 10% off.
That's it.
Your next tank order. Nick, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Until the next.